I shouldn't have followed the second trail. That's the part I keep replaying. Not the sounds, not what I saw. Just that one decision, stepping off the marked path and onto something that shouldn't have existed. My name is Eric Halpern. I'm 34, and I've been hiking since I was a kid. I don't scare easy. I don't get lost. And I don't make stupid mistakes in the woods. At least, I didn't. It was late October in the Cascades. Peak fall. The kind of scenery people fly across the country to see. The mountains were covered in burnt orange and deep red, the air sharp and cold enough to sting your lungs. Perfect conditions. I picked a moderate trail, nothing extreme. About 6 miles in, 6 out. Well marked. Popular enough that I wasn't exactly isolated, but quiet enough to feel alone. That's what I wanted. The first 3 miles were uneventful. Leaves crunching under my boots, wind whispering through the trees. Every now and then I'd pass someone heading the other way. Quick nod, maybe a "how's it going?" Then back to silence. Around mile 4, I noticed something strange. A trail marker, one of those small wooden signs, pointed left toward a path that wasn't on my map. I stopped. Checked my phone, GPS still working. The official trail continued straight ahead, no mention of a split. But the path to the left, it looked real. Not overgrown, not abandoned. The ground was packed down like people had been walking it, recently. I figured it was an unofficial extension. Maybe locals used it, maybe it looped back around. I hesitated for a full minute. Then I turned left. At first, everything felt normal. Same forest, same sounds, same steady incline. But after about 10 minutes, I realized something subtle had changed. The forest had gone quiet. Not peaceful quiet, not that calm, serene silence you get deep in nature. This was different. No birds, no insects. No wind, just my footsteps. I stopped walking. The silence pressed in immediately, thick, heavy, like the air itself was holding its breath. Then I heard it. A single footstep. Behind me. I turned around fast, too fast, almost slipped on the leaves. Nothing. Just the empty trail stretching back the way I came. I told myself it was an echo, or maybe a delayed sound bouncing off the terrain. Yeah, that made sense. I kept walking. The path started to narrow. Branches leaned in closer. The trees seemed taller, darker. The light shifted, not because the sun was setting, but because something about the canopy blocked it out differently. I checked the time. 2:17 p.m. Still plenty of daylight. And yet, it felt like evening. That's when I noticed the footprints. Not mine. Ahead of me. They were fresh, pressed deep into the dirt, crisp edges. Definitely human. Same general size as mine. I hadn't seen anyone pass me, and these prints were going in the same direction. I don't know why, but that bothered me more than anything else. I started walking faster. The footprints stayed just ahead, always visible, never getting closer, like whoever made them was walking at exactly my pace. That's when the smell hit me. Rot. Not just damp leaves or wet soil, something worse, sweet and sickly. I covered my nose and kept moving. Then I heard it again. Footsteps. This time there was no mistaking it. Behind me, perfectly synchronized with mine. Step, step, step. I stopped. The other footsteps stopped too. I didn't turn around right away. I don't know why. Maybe some instinct told me not to. Slowly, I looked over my shoulder. Nothing. But the trail behind me, it looked wrong, shorter, like the distance I had just walked had compressed somehow. The trees seemed closer together, the path tighter, like it was closing in. I turned back forward, and the footprints ahead of me were gone. Just gone. No gradual fading, no overlapping leaves. They just stopped, right in the middle of the trail. I stood there, frozen, and then I heard breathing. Close, too close, right behind my ear. Slow, wet, deliberate. I spun around. Nothing, but the smell was stronger now, overwhelming. I stumbled back, heart pounding, and that's when I saw it. Between the trees, a figure, tall, thin, too thin. Its limbs looked wrong, like they bent in places they shouldn't. It wasn't moving, just standing there, watching. I couldn't see its face clearly, but I knew it was looking at me. Every instinct I had screamed at me to run. So I did. I turned and bolted down the trail, or what I thought was the trail. Branches clawed at my arms, leaves slipped under my boots. I didn't care. I just ran. Behind me, I heard it. Not running. Walking. Same steady pace. Step, step, step. It didn't change speed, but it was getting closer. I could feel it. The air behind me felt colder, heavier, like something was leaning in. I didn't stop until I burst through a line of trees and stumbled onto gravel. The main trail. People. Voices. Normal sounds. I collapsed to my knees, gasping for air. A couple hiking past stopped and asked if I was okay. I couldn't even answer at first. When I finally looked back toward where I came from, there was no trail, just dense forest. No opening, no path, nothing. I pulled out my phone, shaking, and checked the map again. No alternate route, no side trail. Just the one I was supposed to be on. I told myself I imagined it. Adrenaline, isolation, my brain playing tricks. That's what I believed. Until I got home. Until I took off my boots and saw the mud on the soles. 2 sets of footprints. One was mine, and the other was facing the opposite direction. The first time I heard my name, I answered. That's the mistake. Not going into the forest, not staying past sunset, not even splitting up. Just that one simple reflex. Someone calls your name, you respond. That's all it took. My name is Daniel Reeves. I'm 31, and last fall I went hiking with my younger brother Tyler in the Appalachian Mountains. It was supposed to be a short trip, 1 night, maybe 2, nothing extreme. Just camping, fresh air, a break from everything. Tyler had been the one to suggest it, said he needed to clear his head. He didn't explain much, and I didn't push. We weren't the type to talk about things directly. Never had been. We picked a trail that wasn't too crowded, far enough out to feel isolated, but still marked. At least, that's what we thought. The first day was normal, almost boring. Leaves crunching under our boots, cold wind slipping through the trees, that dry, earthy smell of autumn everywhere. We talked a bit, mostly small stuff. Old memories. Dumb arguments from years ago. It felt good. Easy. By late afternoon, we found a clearing and set up camp. That's when things started to feel off. Not wrong, just slightly out of place. The forest was too quiet. I don't mean peaceful quiet. I mean empty. No birds, no insects, no distant rustling. Just wind. Tyler noticed it too. I could tell by the way he kept looking around, like he expected something to move. Probably just the cold, I said. He didn't answer. We made a small fire, ate, tried to relax. As the sun went down, the shadows stretched too far between the trees. The light faded faster than it should have. 1 minute it was late afternoon, the next it felt like night was already pressing in. That's when we heard it. Daniel. My name. Clear as day, coming from the trees. I turned immediately. Yeah? I called back. Tyler grabbed my arm so fast it actually hurt. Don't, he said. What? Don't answer that. I frowned. It's probably another hiker. There are no other hikers, he said. The way he said it, flat, certain, made something in my chest tighten. Daniel, again, same voice, same direction. I took a step forward before I even realized I was moving. Tyler stepped in front of me. That's not a person, he said quietly. I almost laughed, almost. But something about the sound of my name, it wasn't right, too clean, too perfect, like it had been copied. We stayed by the fire. The voice stopped after a while, or maybe we just stopped hearing it. Either way, neither of us slept much that night. At some point, I must have drifted off, because I woke up to the sound of footsteps, soft, slow, circling the tent. I held my breath, listened. Crunch, pause, crunch, like someone walking carefully, trying not to be heard. Tyler, I whispered. No response. I reached over. His sleeping bag was empty. Cold. My stomach dropped. I unzipped the tent slowly, trying not to make noise. The forest outside was dark, but not completely. Moonlight filtered through the trees, just enough to see shapes. Tyler? I called softly. No answer. Then, Daniel, behind me, right next to the tent. I froze. The voice was closer now, much closer, and wrong in a way I couldn't explain. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. Instead, I looked forward. And that's when I saw him. Tyler, standing about 20 feet away, just at the edge of the trees. Dude, I said, relief flooding through me. What the hell? Don't, he said. Same word as before, same tone. But he wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me, at something behind me. Slowly, carefully, I turned around. Nothing. Just the tent. The fire, now almost dead. And darkness between the trees. I turned back. Tyler was gone. Just gone. No sound, no movement, no sign he'd ever been there. Tyler? I said, louder this time. No answer. Then, from deeper in the forest, Daniel. Multiple voices this time, layered, slightly out of sync, all saying my name. I backed up, heart pounding, and tripped over something. I looked down. Footprints. Dozens of them surrounding the tent, all leading in, none leading out. I ran. I didn't pack anything, didn't think, just ran in the direction I thought was the trail. The voices followed, Not chasing, just calling. From different directions now. Closer, farther, everywhere. Daniel. 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 At one point, I swear I heard Tyler's voice mixed in with them, screaming my name, begging me to stop. I didn't. I ran until the ground turned from dirt to gravel, until I saw the trail marker, until I collapsed. Rangers found me a few hours later, wandering near the parking area, alone. They went back for Tyler, search teams, dogs, everything. They never found him. No tracks, no campsite, nothing. Like he was never there. I told them what happened. Of course, they didn't believe me. Said I got disoriented, panicked, left him behind. Maybe I did. Maybe that's easier to believe. But here's the part I can't explain. A week after I got home, I received a voicemail. No number, just static at first. Then a voice, weak, distorted. Daniel, don't answer them. It was Tyler. And behind him, dozens of voices, all whispering my name. I saw myself on the mountain before I even began the hike. That's not a metaphor. I mean, I literally saw myself. Same jacket, same backpack, standing at the summit, staring down at me. And I hadn't even left the trailhead yet. My name is Colin Mercer. I'm 36 and I've been hiking for over a decade. Mostly solo, mostly in the Rockies. I like the isolation, the control. Out there, everything makes sense. You move forward, or you don't. No surprises. At least, that's what I used to think. It was late October, cold enough that the air burned in your lungs, but not cold enough for snow to fully stick. The kind of weather that keeps most people away, which is exactly why I chose that trail. 7 miles to the summit, steady incline, nothing technical. I got there just after sunrise. The parking lot was empty. And that's when I saw him. Me. Standing way up at the top of the ridge, perfectly still. I blinked a few times, thinking it was just light playing tricks. The angle of the sun, shadows, distance. Your brain fills in shapes when it shouldn't. But no, it was too clear. Same stance, same gear. Even the way I slightly lean on my right leg, an old injury. And he was looking straight at me. I felt this pressure in my chest, like my body was trying to warn me before my brain caught up. I should have left right then. Instead, I laughed. Actually laughed. "Okay," I said out loud. "Guess I'll meet you up there." That was the moment everything locked into place. I started hiking. The first mile was normal, cold air, crunching leaves, that steady rhythm of breathing and movement. But something stayed with me. That image. Because no matter how far I walked, the distance to the summit didn't seem to change. I checked my watch. My pace was fine. Checked the map. I was on track. But visually, the peak looked exactly as far away as it had been at the start. And I could still see him, standing there, watching. By mile 3, I realized something worse. He hadn't moved. Not even a little. No shifting, no adjusting, nothing. Just fixed. That's when the doubt started creeping in. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it was just something shaped like me. I picked up my pace. If I could just get closer, I'd see clearly. That's all I needed. Around mile 4, I stopped for water. When I looked back down the trail, the parking lot was gone. Not just out of sight, gone. There should have been at least a glimpse of the clearing through the trees, a break in the forest. There was nothing, just more trees, endless, dense, wrong. I turned back forward. The summit was closer, way closer than it should have been. Like I'd skipped miles without realizing it. And he was still there, waiting. I didn't remember covering that distance. I didn't remember anything between stopping for water and standing where I was now. That's when I checked my watch again. An hour had passed. I felt like maybe 10 minutes had. I told myself I zoned out. It happens. Trail trance. Still, something about it didn't sit right. I kept going. The trees started thinning. The wind picked up. That sharp, high-altitude cold cut through my jacket. The summit was just ahead now, and for the first time, he moved. Slowly, deliberately, he raised his arm and pointed. Not at me, behind me. I turned. Nothing. Just the trail. I turned back. He was closer. Much closer. Too close. Close enough that I could see his face. My face. But something was off. The expression. It wasn't neutral. It wasn't calm. It was strained. Like he was trying to hold something back. Or warn me. I felt my stomach drop. Okay, I muttered. That's enough. I started backing away. 1 step. 2. Then I heard it. Footsteps, not mine. Behind me. I froze. Slowly turned. Another me, standing on the trail. Closer than the first one had ever been. This one wasn't pointing. This one was smiling. Wide. Too wide. I stumbled back, heart pounding, and realized I was now between them. One at the summit, one on the trail, both looking at me. The one at the top shook his head, slowly, urgently. The one behind me took a step forward. I ran. Not toward the summit, not back down the trail, just sideways, into the trees. Branches tore at my clothes, rocks slipped under my boots. I didn't care. I just needed distance, needed out. I ran until I couldn't breathe, until my legs gave out. And when I finally stopped, everything was quiet. No wind, no footsteps, nothing. I stayed there for a long time, too scared to move. Eventually, I made my way back to the trail, or what I thought was the trail. I followed it down. Hours passed. The light faded. And then, I saw the parking lot. Relief hit me so hard I almost collapsed. My car was still there. Everything looked normal. I got in, locked the doors, and just sat there, shaking. After a few minutes, I looked up, toward the mountain. And that's when I saw them. 2 figures, at the edge of the tree line, standing side by side, watching the parking lot. Watching me. Same height, same build, same face. My face. And then, one of them turned, looked up toward the summit, and raised his arm, pointing. I followed his gaze, and there, at the very top, was another one, perfectly still, waiting for someone to start climbing. The cabin wasn't empty when I got there. That wouldn't be strange on its own. Plenty of people hike out to backcountry cabins this time of year. What was strange is that whoever was inside knew I was coming hours before I arrived. My name is Lucas Grant. I'm 33, and last October I took a solo trip into the Bitterroot Mountains. Remote area, minimal traffic, exactly what I wanted. There's an old ranger cabin about 9 miles in. First come, first served, no reservations, no signal. Just a log structure, a stove, and 4 walls to keep the wind out. I'd stayed in places like that before, never had a problem. The hike in was long but uneventful. Cold air, damp leaves, that constant smell of pine and earth. By the time I reached the cabin, the sun was already dropping behind the ridge. That's when I saw the smoke. Thin, faint, but definitely there, drifting out of the chimney. I stopped, stared at it for a few seconds. Great, I muttered. Someone beat me to it. Not ideal, but not a big deal either. Worst case, I camp outside. Still, something about it didn't sit right. The door was closed, no gear outside, no footprints in the dirt around the porch, nothing to suggest anyone had just arrived. And yet the fire was clearly going. I walked up slowly and knocked. No answer. Knocked again, louder. Still nothing. "Hello?" I called. Silence. I tried the handle. Unlocked. The door creaked open, and a wave of warm air hit me, along with the smell of burning wood. Inside, the stove was lit, fire steady, strong, but the cabin was empty. No bags, no boots, no food, nothing. Just a fully burning fire. I stepped inside, scanning every corner. "Hello?" I said again. Nothing. I checked the back room. Small, bare. No one. I went back to the main room and stood there, listening. The fire crackled. The wind pressed against the walls. That was it. I should have left. I know that now. Instead, I convinced myself someone had just stepped out, maybe gathering wood, maybe checking something nearby. So I dropped my pack, sat down, waited. Minutes passed, then an hour. No one came back. Eventually, I locked the door from the inside. If someone returned, they'd knock. At least, that's what I told myself. I added a log to the fire, ate something small, tried to relax. But the feeling didn't go away. That sense that I wasn't alone. Around midnight, I heard the first knock. Soft. 3 taps. I froze, listened. Nothing. Then again, 3 taps. Same rhythm. I stood up slowly and walked to the door. "Yeah?" I called. No response. I pressed my eye to the small window beside the door. Darkness. No shape, no movement. Just black. "Hello?" I said again. Silence. I waited a few seconds, then turned back toward the room, and the fire was out. Not dying. Not low. Out. Completely. The room dropped into near total darkness instantly. My stomach twisted. I knew for a fact that fire had been strong seconds ago. I grabbed my flashlight and flicked it on. The stove was cold. No embers, no smoke. Nothing. Like it had never been lit. Another knock. This time louder, more urgent. 3 taps. Exactly the same spacing. I backed away from the door. "Who's there?" I asked. For a second, nothing. Then, my voice answered from the other side. "Who's there?" Same tone, same pitch. Perfect copy. Every hair on my body stood up. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Another knock, 3 taps, then again, my voice. "Let me in." I shook my head, whispering to myself, "No, no, no, no." The handle turned, slowly, carefully. But I had locked it. It stopped halfway, then released. Silence for maybe 30 seconds. Then, footsteps around the cabin. Slow, measured, circling. I turned with the sound, flashlight shaking in my hand. It stopped at the back wall, then a knock from inside, behind me. I spun around. The back wall, solid logs, no door, no window. And yet, 3 taps, right there, from the wood itself. I stumbled back, heart racing, and that's when I saw it, on the floor. Mud, fresh, footprints, leading from the back wall toward me. I didn't stay. I grabbed my pack and ran for the door, unlocked it, threw it open, and sprinted into the cold. I didn't look back, didn't stop, didn't care about the dark, the terrain, anything. I just ran. I don't remember most of the hike out, just fragments, trees rushing past, my breath tearing through my chest, that constant feeling that something was right behind me. I reached the trailhead just before dawn, collapsed beside my car. I didn't go back, didn't tell anyone. For a long time, I tried to convince myself it wasn't real, that I imagined it, stress, isolation, darkness. But there's one thing I can't explain. When I got home, I unpacked my gear. At the bottom of my pack, something I didn't put there. A piece of charred wood, still warm. And carved into it, 3 lines, perfectly spaced, like knocks.